Peace, Radio World. Canibus right here, live and direct at you. And it's December 2021. The record called Kaiju is available now on CandyNFT.com. And you hanging out with Canibus on the Bootleg Kev Podcast show, y'all. Peace.
Bootleg Kev Podcast, we got a special guest, man. This guy, someone who is a legend, someone who I remember the trip to the Warehouse record store when I bought your first album. And was it 97? Was it 98?
Well, if he bought a single, it would have been 97.
No, it was the album.
Yeah,
so it was 98.
98.
Yeah.
September 8th.
Yeah, I always play my, like I'm driving in the car and when my son tries to yell at me for saying the word retarded, I play your song. And I'm like, yo, there was a fucking song called Get Retarded when I was a kid. Right. So fuck off, we're from different eras. Right, you know what I mean? But man, welcome, Canibus, the legend.
Peace,
yes,
man.
sir. You got a new album out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaiju, right?
Kaiju. So, ask me what you want to know about it.
Yeah, tell us about the title. Well, first of all, let's start there.
Yeah, pretty much Kaiju was so that's the word or the term that was coined to pretty much the umbrella for all those like those Godzilla movies, those big monster movies, Japanese folklore and before all the animations, Japanimations you had. We grew up on it. I mean, I don't know what year you were born.
I was born in 87. No, I was I was born in 87.
You were old enough definitely to like on a Saturday, get up and see like all of these, all the stuff going on a Saturday after the cartoons.
Of course.
You go through the Mystery Science Theater and they're showing all of these. So Kaiju is the name that embodies all of those types of films. So it means big. It means like monster, prehistoric.
Some monster shit.
Yeah, but sometimes the monsters were good guys though. So I don't know if they were monsters, all the way. Sometimes they were good guys. Just sometimes you need a really big fix for a big problem, right?
100%.
Right. So Kaiju, I'm a good monster.
I feel like you've been extremely like, you also the Horseman Project. Finally, we got that.
Right. Shout out to the Horseman team. That's right. It's been a long time coming.
I feel like you come in and out of hip hop. Like we won't hear from you, and then we'll be like, oh shit, there's a Horseman album, or there's a new Canibus album, or like, you're what I like to call it. I always say that there's a few Jedis in the rap game, and I think you are one of the Jedis when it comes to just your abilities when it comes to this rap shit. Like, how passionate are you about making music still?
So. That's a big compliment. I really appreciate you even saying it's a big compliment, man. Pretty much huge compliment. I was a Star Wars fan growing up,
there's a few. So, there's a handful of Jedis in the game.
Yeah,
You're one of them, man.
There is, and but to be one of them, it's a lot of pressure to even take on that title, right? So I can't take credit for it. I can't take on that title, but to even be considered and have my name in the hat, it's a big deal to me. And that's the way I kind of run through it now in my mind and also in practice, where hip hop, the real moguls out there, the ones who make all the decisions, the tastemakers, the kingmakers, those are, I guess, the real Jedis, man, because they were able to maneuver through a lot of the bear traps, a lot of the things that were set up to like derail artists who had certain elements to them that maybe wasn't mainstream ready, right? Certain little facets of people in their music that the system didn't really want to. I mean, if we take it back to the days of like NWA, right?
Right.
The title is an acronym. Why? Because at that time, no one was able to handle what the name really meant.
What it actually meant, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then,
I mean, look, there's that album from Nas right there, which originally wasn't going to be called N.
Okay, right.
The album was going to be called, the hard R. You know what I'm saying?
So you and I, we were participating in the culture at a time when we couldn't even say the things that people say now. We kind of took all the heat from making it possible to say whatever the hell you want,
right,
and express yourself. And so, you know, like I said, the moguls are probably the real Jedi. We're like me, myself.
Well, the moguls can't craft a 32 bar verse like you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just mean in terms of like your abilities. You know, like when we think of like NBA 2K and we look at someone's rankings, like your rapping ability is like a 99. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, look, I really do appreciate you
Yeah.
and for saying that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate, you know, the fans, the brotherhood, people that, you know, say it out loud, they think it out loud. But like I said, the moguls, in my mind, the moguls, the people who are on the phone 24 hours a day. Like, I'll just give you an example of it, like a Jedi to me, that would be like M80.
M80 is over here.
Yeah, because without people like that, your record doesn't see the light of day. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we use your, you know, your perspective on it, then these Jedis, man, these Jedis can't even get their record played. Right. These Jedis can't get an interview right now. These Jedis can't make you get what I'm trying to say?
I hear what you're saying.
That's why we, you know, that's why I fall back, you know, stay in my lane now. I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Life is not all rap, no matter what people think. You know what I mean? And just spread it out and try to get the best of what's left for us. You know, we're all like nearing half a century now. Definitely. Everybody from our era, we're all nearing half a century. So, you know,
you just said life isn't all rap, and I feel like you were somebody who embraced that concept relatively early on in your career.
It was all rap for me.
But I mean, for somebody who was so dedicated to being
right,
to your craft, right?
Right.
Like, I feel like, I feel like, when you enlisted and to join the armed services, like sometimes we get so wrapped up in perception. You know, the hip hop is all about perception, right?
Absolutely.
Like when we I had I'm real cool with Little Brother.
Okay.
So rapper Big Pooh and Fonte, a couple of other Jedis, right? But Big Pooh, openly talked about how he was driving Uber, just for some money on the side.
That's right.
And like, to me, it was like, yeah, that's okay, because this is not. We're all real human beings.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we get so wrapped up in like perception, because that's really what the hip hop game is. It's like, it's kind of like it's like a weird peer sport. And I feel like you kind of exist in your own world where you can come in, drop an album, and then we might not hear from you for like another year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
why or how it's like that, that's a little bit above my pay grade to even try to quantify how it got like that. But I feel like at all times, all of the artists that come from our era were multitasking. I mean, a lot of us come from single parented homes. You know what I mean? Like we were all doing things that we were able to multitask and, helping mama pay the bills, or helping grandma, get this together, and, helping grandpa going down. We all, from my era, we came from that, right? And I'm talking about the things that are favorable and the things that are not so favorable, right? We did whatever it took to, make our family proud, or, bring home the bacon, right? And so, I think that during our era, we were all able to jump rope in a lot of different ways.
Also, you probably had to too, right? Because
we did.
The deals back then were a lot more predatory as well.
Yeah. But I mean, even when it's time to go to like Sam Ash or JR Music World, or the Guitar Center, right? Remember, we were the ones that the machines, these drum machines and all that. We were the ones that would take this equipment and show them what it could really do, right? They didn't have anybody else who could even work these machines out the way that we could, but you still had to buy it, man. You still had to put plastic on it. Somebody had to come in there and either co-sign it, or you working 1, 2, 3 jobs to get the cash, or a homie that is already getting it like that, and he'll spot you the bread to go get the equipment, to go make the samples, to go make the demos, to go get, to go make the deal. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There were always multiple steps that had to be taken to get on. So paying dues was not it wasn't a short-term thing, man. Like you kind of were in it before you knew what it was about. The what you was trying to get to, you were looking at it through a telescope. When you got to it, you realized that road was a little bit more arduous than you thought it was. And so, like I said, man, I just feel like we all were doing more at that time to get on. We had more solid footing when we got there. But as we grew, so did the majors, so did those that, paid our checks, the buildings that we kept the lights on in, they also grew. And I guess at some time they started, they had to cut weight, right? They had to, when it was time for them to get into a championship fight, they had to cut weight. And so when they cut weight, they would always cut what maybe wasn't keeping the lights on as long, right? And obviously that's going to always gravitate back towards branding.
Right.
And the people who were branding were the corporate guys, the clothing manufacturers and stuff like that. And funny enough, because here we are again, right? Back into this, a lot of new things are coming out. They need people to brand it, but they don't need rap anymore. Now all they need is social media.
Yep.
So, but we were hip hop. We were the world's first social media. Yeah, rap was.
Yeah, for sure. You guys are the first influencers.
We were the first, man.
Yeah, because if you think about it, nowadays you just find someone who's got, some kid who's got 15 million followers on TikTok that doesn't really have a talent, but they could pop your shit off.
That's right.
Back then, you needed Raekwon to wear Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
you
right.
needed Jay-Z to pop your Cristal.
That's right.
You know what I
that.
mean?
That's right.
Now you just find...
Clico.
Yeah,
Vogue
100%.
Clico, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy, Biz, because I feel like when we M80 would know this. We always hear of the lyrical, spiritual miracle rappers. You've heard that term, right?
I know that shit.
I feel like you are the quintessential. When we think of the lyrical, spiritual, I feel like when people say that, I think of Canibus.
Right.
You have so many intricate rhyme patterns. Fucking the vocabulary is insane. Right. You're fucking. I feel like sometimes I'll be hearing you rapping. It's like math problems and all kinds of algorithmic shit going on. Like, I feel like you are that guy. Like, what do you like? Explain to me your writing process.
So in the beginning, it's funny you say that because in the beginning we were all lyrical miracle guys, right? You know what I'm saying? But then, because that's what we'd get on, is we just say lyrical miracle because you're saying lyrical, so you look at the next word around with lyrical. You know what I'm saying? So you lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual, and all that. We were all that in the beginning. All of us were.
Right.
And then it got to the point where some artists came out and they were more, to the blink. I'm not singling out, shout out to Cash Money, but I'm not singling them out.
The bling bling shit.
The bling phase, because they started to bring error, right?
Yeah, they did.
So when the bling era came and so much bread was being made from it, that everybody started getting bread on that side of things, and then the lyrical miracle dudes was just the backpackers, and lyrical miracle dudes were broke and they didn't have nothing. So then you found dudes that were lyrical miracles, laughing at other lyrical miracles.
Right? Wait a minute.
There was a division in there. Yeah. And then so one of my homies doesn't say the lyrical miracle. He's with the fly dye, with the tie dye, with the my tie. Yeah. So that's what it became. And it's kind of crazy when you got your own, dudes cut from the same cloth, rhyme ability wise, laughing at the lyrical miracle. So then because the machine helped them get the bread, but you can't get the bread. And then certain things started happening. So, yeah, man, I mean, I was happy to graduate out of the lyrical miracle phase because it was a phase we all go through. Then I got into the poetry, and I did that probably circa right For Whom to Be Told is 07. That's when it got to where the rhymes that were coming out of my mouth, no one could shadow them. You didn't know what I was going to say next because, lyrical wasn't going to rhyme with miracle. I was going to make lyrical rhyme with molybdenum. You know what I mean? That's so, yeah. But that lyrical miracle era was fun.
I just think I guess since I think of your era, it was like guys like yourself, like Raz, like obviously a guy who's a partner in the Horsemen. Shout out to Raz.
For sure, yeah.
Nature of the Thread is fucking amazing.
These all.
But then I think even after that, like I think of like at least on the forefront commercially wise, like I think Lupe is one of those guys who's just like a fucking alien,
Yeah. But they didn't let us have our lane though. Like we had a lane and no one set up an HOV lane for us. There was no HOV lane for us. We were still getting in and out of lanes and really had no place. There was no home for us,
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know what's crazy is like, we think back, like what you just said, there was lyrical guys calling out lyric, like there was a divide.
Yeah.
And I think back to how crazy it was when Kanye West put Talib Kweli, I'm sorry, when Jay-Z put Talib Kweli in that, when he said, I'd probably be lyrically Talib Kweli.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, to think that there was a point in time where we thought that Jay-Z and Talib were so far apart.
Right.
When they aren't at all.
Right.
And like, or when Mos Def and Freeway were put on that record, was it 2 words, right? At the end of College Dropout by Kanye West. It was so weird because it felt like Kanye brought 2 worlds together, Mos Def and Freeway, when like they're the same shit.
Right.
But that's where things are so different now, because now there's like real serious divides in hip hop as far as like, back then it was like, hey, just somebody happened to have a commercial record deal and maybe have a club record.
Right.
But at the same time, Raucous Records felt so far away from Rockefeller Records.
That's right.
But were they really? Like, no, of course not. Like, and even then, like you mentioned Cash Money, like Lil Wayne's one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But when you heard the Raucous Records though, like, but the owner of that at the time, it's like a super mogul, but no one knew that though, right? No one knew that, so
it just felt like there was this huge divide between like the backpack shit, what we would consider the quote unquote real hip hop, and the commercial shit, which was also real hip hop.
Exactly.
Like now, I feel like there is a serious like, at least maybe not as much anymore as there was like a few years ago when the SoundCloud shit really went crazy and Lil Pump was fucking huge, and I was really like, okay, I'm old.
Right. Yeah, I feel you.
But I do think it's dope that now, no matter what, the last 10 to 12 years, the top 4 guys are all amazing. Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
These guys are all...
Absol, right.
Yeah, these guys are all like they're the forefront of hip hop, right? And they're all extremely high level, high caliber, talented rappers.
Yeah, you're talking about keeping the lights on as well, right?
Yeah, they keep the lights on at every label that they're at, but they also are incredibly talented. So I think it just says that like no matter what, like there might be eras where people come and go, but the cream's always gonna rise to the top and be the constant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who are you a fan of? Like, who do you listen to that's, maybe not from your era, that's a little bit newer, that like you really respect as far as on the mic?
I mean, gotta tell you, man, it just ranges, man. It depends on who, like, maybe might come, nieces and nephews that come over to the house, they're playing stuff, they want to listen to that. I might have to sit and lend an ear to it because I'm, watching over them for a little bit, right? And you hear the music, and irregardless of what they're saying, like the delivery now is a lot tighter from these little youngins than it was when we were coming up.
Oh yeah, man.
Delivery,
the melodic shit is amazing. Like people are making great records right now.
They're making good records, but also, and content wise, I want to make the distinction. Like they don't have enough experience to make the poetry that the era that we
enough life experiences. Yeah,
there's no way. Yeah. There's no way for them to put that kind of poetry together. Right. They'll get there, but insofar as the delivery, it amazes me even how they're able to do that. And some of them don't have any classical musical training. Like they don't even know. People talking about bars and don't really even know what a bar is. Right. So that's always going to be something that you got to look at. Raise a brow or two to know that. I guess they're just born with it now. Like instinctually, they come out the womb and they have a metronome that they can follow, and they can double time just on cue. They can double time. They can. They can switch up their time signatures. Like what they do now is amazing. But like I said, the older generation want to maybe look, if they were looking for anything from the newer generation, the latest generation, they'd be looking for, certain things content wise. But they can't provide that yet. But they'll get there. And then when they get there, the next graduating class will be coming in, and they'll be speaking about something. They'll probably be delivering, through some kind of AI metaverse, you know what I'm saying? People rhyming with the goggles on,
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? And once you got that and you got backgrounds going on and you got now, you know, who can compete with that, right? Because visually you're giving whatever consumers at that time is going to be looking, you're giving them something that, you know, the era that we're looking at now that's maybe 2 behind us, they wouldn't even be able to compete with them. So this is a cyclical cycle. This is, you know, cyclical. It's going to continue on and on. I look at it as like an observer, man, from the outside, man. I just break out the popcorn, bro.
I'm saying, when you listening to music, you still listening to a lot of hip hop?
Not really, man. You know what I'm saying? I throw, to tell you, I know it sounds crazy, man, but you know, if I go on, you know, if I'm on the XFM, I'm just listening to like, you know, music that has no words. You know what I mean? Like, I might sit there and just listen to Nora and Pure. You know what I mean? Right? Because riding around, it makes me feel rich. Right? You know, if I'm listening to Nora and Pure, it makes me feel rich. If I'm listening to, you know, this MC or this rap kid on here talking about, I don't feel rich. I feel like, damn, I feel broke as fuck. You know, this got this, that, and the third. I don't got that. You know what I mean? So I'd rather just listen to something that, you know, just a little bit more, you know, soundscape, you know, heavy bass, tempo going crazy, you know what I mean? Something that you can just relax your mind to. Because if you really sit down and listen to these guys, man, you can feel like you're missing out on all the good things in life. Rap shouldn't really be like that, man.
Right.
You shouldn't have to listen to rap and feel like you're missing out on life. Right. You should be able to listen to rap and feel like, you know, like okay, this is where I want to be. But rap now makes you feel like you're not where you want to be and you made a mistake and I need to do what you're doing.
It's been like that for a while. I mean, you mentioned the bling bling era. I think it really started pretty heavily, you know, with Cash Money, because it'd be like, yo, Birdman's rapping about having a car with the driver's seat in the middle. It's
but look, you can't put it all on. You can't
no, I'm just saying it started, and some people probably listen. Like, I love that shit.
I'm gonna give you an insight. I'm gonna give you an insight to it. It really didn't start with those guys, man. Like, those guys were just answering a call. It started with our magazines, right? So you had these magazines, like, you know, the magazines,
The Source,
right?
Word Up,
Other magazines, others, right? All of them,
right?
There was a time when those magazines were very thin because there were no ads in them.
Then they all got loaded up in the back.
Once they got loaded, they got thicker, not just in the back, also in the middle with the peel outs, right?
Right.
Once they went there, anybody could go look it up and see. That's when the article started to go from being favorable or agreeable, like, oh yeah, we got such and such most loved, or you know, someone who's known for such and such, so on, like all accolades and praise, right? To oh yeah, the East Coast West Coast war started because such and such, they said, and then that was in bold lettering, and then the division started, right? That's when the division started. The division started when magazines started to put in bold writing disagreements that people had that had nothing to do with the album outright, but they grabbed the narrative. They were grabbing narratives and narratives
sold magazines.
That were poisonous to us, and they fed it back to us. And so, you know what happens when you feed a bovine cow bovine bones, right?
Right.
What happens? It breaks down, it degenerates, right? It turns into, like, you know, MS or what, right?
Yeah, I think
Mad
obviously
cow disease, right? That's what they did to us. They fed us our own dead. Right.
I mean, I think when these magazines realized that's what sold, because think about it, back then you couldn't go on social media and address someone directly or in real time.
Right.
It was like, I gotta wait to see what they say in the next vibe, or it was so much he said she said because there was no direct to consumer way to communicate with fans.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to take responsibility. You know, everybody's got to be accountable, right? Like, if there were other magazines, you know, skiing. Biking, you know, the stuff that William Randolph Hearst did, you know, everything was photography, skiing, biking, boating, all the INGs, right? He just got them all, and he added ING to every hobby, every recreational pastime, and it sold. You go look in those magazines, they weren't dividing their own culture.
Right.
You see people dividing sailcraft with, you know, diesel engines versus gas. You know, people would make comparisons, but they didn't make it to where, like, you know, don't buy this, you know, mirror, but like, right? It's only in rap. And so that tells you that there was an agenda involved, you know. But what confuses me always is that rap just kind of keeps going down the same circle, those same bear traps, pitfalls. They just break out a recurring pitfall every 5 or 10 years, and people fall into it. For example, I don't understand how the owners of these magazines didn't see 10 years ahead in the future, which ain't even long.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you see that by putting these things, by grabbing the narrative and making it negative in your magazine, right? Can't you see that all that's going to do is push your magazine out the window eventually to where you're not going to have the staff. You're going to kill your own culture through the magazine, right? You're going to kill your magazine. The platforms are going to change. You're going to go online. Now you don't have a staff anymore, right? And I can say this because I lived it. Like, when you had promotion and marketing, man, there was a time, and you're from a relatively same era. Yeah. There was a time when craft services used to get money from coming to our videos, coming to the meet and greets, just parking the truck outside, the food truck outside. The promotions, the marketing promotions guys used to get buku bucks, man. They used to go.
Yeah, they had to go to the record stores and make sure you had your setup and your posters in the record stores.
Somebody making some clothes, just got some garms and stuff like that.
Everyone was getting paid.
Everybody was getting bread, bro. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
And it was coming out of your budget.
And it was No, I'm talking about the self. I'm talking about the self-made. I'm not talking about labels paying people. I'm talking about people making the work that you was able to get it all back through being busy every day, doing what you loved. That was a time when we were still doing what we loved. But then, like I said, things just started to get strained, and it's like they put us through some kind of a funnel. And what came out the other end was, all right, well, now you just upload your music. And we don't need anybody to promote it. You can pay for it to promote it, but that just means we're just going to digitally send a signal and ping a website and get avatars and get bots, right?
Right.
And so, and it's really alarming, man. You just look and you see how much power does the average rapper have, man? Not much, and that's crazy to me.
Yo, you mentioned the metaverse a bit earlier, but I know that you are in the NFT space a bit.
Yeah. So the metaverse, I'm listening.
But I'm just curious, like, what you've always kind of been ahead of the curve when it comes to the online shit or just certain shit. Like,
it's a total curse, man.
Talk about the NFT shit, man, because obviously I think a lot of artists are still trying to figure out the space. It's new.
Right.
We starting to kind of understand what it is, but at the same time, are very disconnected to what it really is.
Right.
So you're in the space.
Right.
How are you feeling about like kind of just that whole side of the game?
Okay, so a lot of it, I'm only qualified to speak on a fraction of what an NFT can do or where it's going, right? Mainly because a lot of the, you got to be a coder, man. Like you really have to, to really know what you're doing, man. Like, cause I work with some of those guys, and I mean they're like brainiacs, man. And most of them, from what I see, they're like our age. They're not little youngins, man, because they had to go and invest the time to learn these programs, and they have to know how to code, right? Right. Even now, as you talk about, like if you want to go build a website, you got to go get somebody from India to do it, right? I remember when I was building pitfalls.com. This is a long time ago. This is 2010, and my team and I, were handling building pitfalls.com, and I got to tell you, man, like there were only 2 coders in the country. One was in Miami and one was in Colorado. They could have built the site. So we had to outsource to India. No problem with that. It's just that India has different holidays from us. So we were trying to get things done. It was like, oh man, they're on holiday. Got to hit them back this time. Or Ramadan. Look, can't do Cypher, right? So that's kind of crazy considering it. And it's been like that for a long time. And so NFTs, while there's a lot to it and there's a lot that can happen because of it, I think rap's gonna miss the boat with it again, man. Because once again, they're not, our own people they're not paying attention to the ones who stand to gain and lose the most if we don't get something like that for ourselves. They're not listening to them. They want to go run to just the corporate masters, right? That really kind of don't care one way or another if you make something that your grandchildren are going to be able to tap into to, go to school, get higher education, right? And that's not my axe to grind, man. I'm just saying that to even sit up here and talk about NFT stuff, I mean, I was talking about Canibus.com when nobody gave a shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Me to talk about it now, nobody gives
Well, I mean,
a shit.
people are giving. I mean, you. I saw you just had some NFTs. I mean, how many? I saw you just put up an NFT, right?
I don't have any NFTs.
I swear.
No, if you go online and you look for Canibus NFTs, you don't have any Canibus NFTs. But the whole thing is that, you know, I'm orbiting the technology and I'm orbiting the NFT world because there are things that are works of art that I would like to, you know, I would like to either ascertain,
right,
or, you know, have investors, you know, angel investors come in and ascertain, right? Because okay, so this Bored Ape, you know, NFT,
which is
Bored Yacht Club thing,
right?
Now you look at that, right? Now, if you look at it, it's colorful. It does draw on you a little bit when you look at it, right? To at least for you to scroll and look at the next one,
right?
And you think maybe that, like, you know, maybe there's a like a hip, you know, someone that has like hip hop roots behind it, and it's probably not.
Probably not.
And that's kind of like crazy. So where are the hip hop guys that? Because the prices of those things
are insane,
right? So how would we ever be able to participate in something like that when it's happening right now, and none of us are in that space? So
it's almost like, is it too late? Or like, do you think it's too late for people to get into that space?
It's too late. It's too late because of the division that you talked about earlier, because it's like, you know, no one's going to pool together enough to go do that. Everyone else. I mean, now that we're speaking about that, let me pretty much. So I don't have all the answers for that, but I do have a place that has the answers for it, right? That I know of, that I've. All right, so, you know, this is what I just throw this out. Yo, okay, rippers, investors, hood philanthropists, grandpas with bitcoins, grandmas with shit coins. Look in the iPictorial app, available on Google Play, iPictorial.com. Secure your future with customized iPictorial IOVs, that's Internet of Value tools. I'm talking Canibus coins, Jurassic 5 J5 coins, hieroglyphics, hydro coins.
There's J5 coins?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
What?
That's right. Okay. Every coin, you can cross-chain anything. Think bank, iPictorial finance. There's no one with coins on exchanges. They're going to be on Coinbase and the NASDAQ index. Special rewards coins with membership powers. iPictorial smart wallets for smart people with smartphones. Make smart money from smart contracts. Gem code classes begin January 2022. Available on iPictorial wallet. All of this will be available on January 1st, 2022. Now, this is a small company, right? With long reach, right? I just said that on there, right? Yeah. I'd be surprised to see how many people go there and try to take advantage of or look into what's there for them, right? Now, you know, X amount of days later after this broadcast, I'll find out.
Right.
And most likely, like, the way that I see it is, because I said it, no one cares, right? But this company, they're building on their own without me saying that, right? So they're probably going to grab onto something else out there that's going to win. And then, you know, we're going to be looking at the people who we told about it like, but we told you though, right? And they're going to run off with somebody else that's going to, you know, distribute their musics, take their namesake, you know, get their crypto world together, you know, their wallets,
right.
you know, get all that stuff is very important. And I know why, but I can't say it why, because it doesn't matter unless they go look into an iPictorial, the iPictorial app, right?
Right.
But one day very soon, they're going to wake up and they're going to be in that world already. You can't buy anything in that world. You're not going to be able to earn it. You're not going to be able to get any airdrops. You're not going to be getting it. You're just going to wake up. You're just going to owe it. And you're going to have to go to work in order to get it. And that's
in the same way we have to do that for the U.S. dollar, right? You got to earn the U.S. dollar. So one day you're not going to be able to purchase into that world.
That's right.
You're going to have to work into that world.
That's right.
Which is a crazy, I mean, that's a crazy thought. But it's eventually.
But for us, though, I think that we're going to still be able to do what we do and do what we're good at doing.
Right.
It's the new generation, man. We're talking about our kids here, talking about our grandchildren.
Yeah, grandchildren.
This is what we're really talking about. When we're talking about that kind of stuff, that's what we're really talking about.
Because
we're able to get it in so many different ways.
No, you're right.
Man.
You're right. This is probably maybe 50, 100 years away.
Yeah. You know.
I wanted to talk to you. So I know I'm sure you saw. Was it LL got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
That's right. He got inducted, right?
He got inducted, and he shouted you out.
This is about a month now, right?
Yeah,
Has
it's
it been
about a
that
month
long?
ago, and he
Okay.
shouted you out in the speech, which I thought was dope. Because in my opinion,
Phone was ringing.
top 3 battles as a kid, I remember obviously second round knockout.
Right.
And I remember going and buying DMX's It's Dark and Hell is Hot, the bonus disc version, because the second there was a Def Jam version of that album that had a bonus disc in it that had the Ripper Strikes Back on it.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And I just remember knowing both of those records by heart and just thinking like, damn, it was such just an epic time, epic battle. But I always felt like there was always respect. And I thought it's just so dope to see all these years later, LL just show you some love, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that we didn't WWF it, right? And what I mean by that is like, why couldn't there have been some wise elder, right, to come out and just say, all right, listen, man, you guys kiss and make up for right now, right? But on the screen, yeah, do that. And let's all really just get rich. And let's go ahead and take this template and do it every time rap artists get into beef. Instead, for us, there was no WWF. They put everybody in a situation like, this is real. You can't sleep tonight because you got dissed. You know what I'm saying? You can't show your face because you got dissed.
Right.
You're under pressure because you got dissed. You know what I mean? You're not the artist that we all thought you were because you got dissed. Like, hip hop kind of did a number on the both of us, I think. And every artist thereafter and before that got into, disagreements with each other. There was at no time on my watch was I able to witness someone that was wise coming into the fray, right, and saying, you know what, there's a way to WWF this.
Where everyone gets paid.
That's right.
And then we take our rapper hats off at the end of the night.
Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened. So that's how I look at the whole thing. I don't, everything y'all talking about, what y'all saying to me, man, it's Chinese. Because what everybody else is talking about is something that still, we spent, 5 minutes talking about this so far? It makes no money.
Right.
Nobody gets anything from it. But on the WWF side of things, they
Everyone's-
eat, bro.
Of course.
So
I'm a huge wrestling fan.
and I'm
You
not
gotta tell
slow. Yeah, and I'm not slow. So I feel insulted. I feel like I got stuck with the dummies. You know what I mean? I got put into the genre of music. I had to get to do that with the dummies. You know what I mean? I should have been on another side where it's like, somebody, the wise man comes down off the mountain. He's got the plan, and he says, man, I like what you guys just did. You know what? Let's go get some money with it. Instead, on this side of thing in rap,
Almost like a Paul Heyman.
that's right. Let's do it. But on this side of thing with rap, the guy comes off the top of the mountain and says, man, you won't believe what he said to me about you up there, man. If I was you, I'd go up there. You see what I'm trying to say?
No, I hear what you're saying.
And then they just wipe us out. We wipe ourselves out. And I'm confused as to how nobody can see it yet.
Yeah. I mean, and hey, look, there might be situations that we just aren't privy to where that it might have happened. I don't know. I just don't think that we'd ever be exposed to that.
I love you, bro, but that's bullshit.
Now, I don't know. I mean,
with the way word of mouth goes on in rap.
No, you're right. It's a bunch of
Come
gossiping.
on, bro. Yeah, man.
So when you heard him shout you out, like, I mean, obviously that was
The phone went crazy.
Yeah.
The texts were crazy. I didn't even remember what I was doing at the time. I was writing. I was writing for Kaiju.
wow.
I was writing. I was vocaling. Right, I was vocaling, and I put the phone on airplane mode. So when I took it off,
It was like
the thing went crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh man, nothing stupid. I'm thinking it's something stupid.
Right.
I'm thinking he got up there and said, yo, man, I want to see Canibus in the pine box. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, right? What I thought when I looked at it, and then when I heard it was the opposite. It did feel good. Now while of course, what if I was like stuck somewhere in South Africa, right? And I couldn't get back to the States, or, right? What if I'd been human trafficked somewhere, right? Think about this, right? What if I was somewhere else, unable to communicate back, right? But I heard about that. How you supposed to feel? You're not supposed to feel like this shout out is any kind of guiding light from the creator, like, just hang in there, kid, you're at it, right?
Right.
Then this is not the way that rap, I feel, in the beginning. This is not the way that it was meant to develop. I don't feel that way, because every other the word team, the word genre, the word group, the word, just any synonym to, like a group.
Right.
Right? People. Right? Any other synonym is going to, you look up the examples or you look up something that's comparable, you're going to see that we don't leave nobody behind. You know what I mean? All right, you know what? We keep our scuffles inside the family. You know what I mean? Everybody, all debts got to be paid, so forth and so on. But you know what? We don't leave nobody behind, man. Rap, bro, I'm good, man. I'm good because, you know what I mean? I got other things doing and working, right? But for those who don't, you got a guest list so long in rap of people that could come up here and talk about being left behind.
Yeah,
and I'm
man.
telling you, bro.
No, 100%.
It's not, something ain't right with that picture, man.
I agree. I mean, I think
I'm not here to fix it either. But
no, but you're right. You're right.
So I don't want anybody to come talk to me like I'm slow about a shout out or something like that. I'm not miserable about it. I'm saying it. Don't even waste my time, man. You know what I mean? About something that it doesn't mean anything. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it. Wait, hold on. Time to stop the interview because we got to talk about our good folks at Odd Socks. Man, listen, if you go to oddsocksofficial.com, that's ODDSOX official.com, use the keyword, it's a fucking promo code. Use the fucking promo code, Bootleg Kev. All right, at checkout, you'll save 20% off. They got, man, look at these SpongeBob joints. Man, the Ninja Turtle boys, you know what I'm saying? How about the Naruto guys? And then they got the new Odd Socks basics that are just like, they're just so fly, man. The tie-dye joints. They just, listen, man. Whatever you need, they got it. How about some half-baked boys? You know what I'm saying? Listen, the most comfortable socks, the most affordable socks, the best socks in the world, Odd Socks. So go to oddsocksofficial.com. Use that keyword. It's not a keyword. It's a fucking promo code. Fuck. Bootleg Kev at checkout. Save 20% off, man. Shout out to our family at Odd Socks. If you support us, go support them. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Folklore. It's not folklore because it's on YouTube. Right. You, Mike Geronimo, Dmx, Pun, Mos Def?
Right, that's correct.
John Forte?
I remember that. Vaguely, anyway.
It's like one of the more historical just ciphers that was ever captured from that era.
Yeah. Like, you know, Torre should have gave us like, somebody did tell us to do sign off. Torre should have gave us like a percentage on that. Yeah, Torre was the guy. He ended up being on
the journalist
CNN.
guy. Yeah, the journalist guy. Yeah,
I remember seeing his face on CNN one day. Like, yo, that dude. Yo, it's like the Beef DVD, right?
I remember the Beef DVD.
So QD3, shout out to QD3.
Yeah, that's Quincy Jones' son, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's like, yo, a percentage on that would have been nice. You know?
Yeah, the fact that he made so much money on three or four of those DVDs off of, and no one saw anything off of it.
Listen to me, man.
Those beef DVDs were moving in the streets.
Stop playing.
I got 3 of them. I got them at my house.
Stop playing. So that's all I'm saying, man. Like when it just came, it seemed like when it came to rap, man, it's like winner takes all, you know? And
I mean, look, the entertainment industry in general is very predatory, right?
Yeah, but hold on though, man. Anywhere else in the entertainment industry, man, there are ancillary, you know, like what drops on the head drips on the shoulder. So there are things that drop off the tree, man. It's like okay, that fruit is ripe or it's overripe, but it's still sustenance. But in rap, listen, man, our VA list, you know, of injured and wounded and, you know, otherwise it's unbearable.
Yes, it's true.
It's unbearable. And I can't do anything about it. I don't have the resources to do anything about it. Every time I tried to go get the resources to do something about it, I was blocked one way or another, right? The narrative was stolen, taken from me, and the narrative changed into something that was like, had something to do with beef or drama, right? But I'm only speaking on it now to just kind of just say, hey, just build a little bit of awareness about it. And sort of like, kind of like, you know, put my hat, cast my hat.
No, I think
in a circle.
that there's been a bunch of attempts of like, right, like what is like the retirement plan for hip hop, or just there's so many, like why aren't there more safety nets for artists? You know, like at the end of the day, like if a major label, they chew you up and spit you out if you're not worth anything.
So I've heard that on Clubhouse, there's been talks about different things like man, I don't want to say the wrong name of the double OG in rap music that is pushing it. I don't want to say the wrong name, so I know that it's somebody that's
Jay Prince, I think, is behind.
That's not the name. I guess I know.
There's a few there. Yeah.
There's a few, but something about having like sit before the Supreme Court, sign the petition, sit before the Supreme Court, and try to get benefits, retirement packages, medical things like that for artists. Right now, great idea, superb idea, but you know what though? It's too late. And the reason I say that is because how can you go before like the American people or any type of global audience, right? When you're nearing, like I said, our era is half a century in, right? And then those that came a little bit 10 years before us, they're 60 years in or better. Then you got those that are 70 and nearing 80. How are you going to sit in front of, 3 generations later, you're sitting in front of them and you're asking them for more money when we traveled the globe, we made the money. You see what I'm trying to say? It's a little bit lopsided, right? These things should have kind of been set up before. So now, little things we were talking about earlier, now you might want to try to steer the youngins in a certain direction to secure their own futures. And then you kind of get blocked with that too. So it's kind of like we're railroaded either way, you know what I mean? Because there are things now that they could do to secure their future. So you can
I think
rap
it's just literacy, right? It's like I feel like unfortunately, like we're talking about retirement plans and stuff. Like any artist, they're just a little bit more, and we're talking about 18, 19-year-old kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just trying to improve their life conditions.
Absolutely.
So they're just going to sign. But at the same time, it's like, man, like we just got to do a better job. And I think we are part of the first generation that's probably taking financial literacy a little bit more serious.
Of course.
But, a lot of that stuff, like, unfortunately, like you said, it's probably never going to happen. So it's really up to the artist.
It's up to the artist.
You got to take care of your shit.
Because all that we could do accumulatively is set up some type of safety net for those that they're not done. Their careers are not over with music, right? But the safety net's there to kind of get them back on track if they do want to, get back into it. Right. There should be some kind of a safety net from somewhere, but that really doesn't exist. I don't think it will exist.
I don't think it will.
So it's up to the individual.
It's up to the individual, yes, just to be more literate.
That's right.
And
so basically, we're asking youngins who came and dedicated, they committed everything. To hip hop, they took on the risk. They took on, everything. They went into these dark rooms. They went in there with these MVGs on. They did their best. They did everything that, most people would be scared to do. Be terrified, petrified to do. These little youngers went here and did this, and we're asking them to go in there and do all of this and not have there's nothing on the other side for them. You know what I mean? And that's kind of, I get so like, defeated even thinking about it.
That's real.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's like any if anybody ever told you like, hey, look, this is your career, but there's no, when you sign up to be a doctor or you're a lawyer or anything, you know that there's a safety net. Yeah. You know what I mean? There might be benefits or whatever it is. Yeah. Take me back to that night from that Cypher.
Right.
Big Pun is one of my favorite ever. This is a crazy night in hip hop. Dmx is there. Yeah. You're there. Like, what do you remember about that night and those circumstances from that night?
I remember that in that room, as tense as it was because of what we all were trying to do in our own lives. We all wanted to come out, make our impacts. Plant our flags in the ground, right? And firmly make an impact in hip hop across the world. That's what we wanted to do. We were all American artists, right. Of course, coming from different lineages, right? And
everyone on the cusp of being the next big thing in rap.
Right. And then ethnically, it was really spread out all throughout. It was spread out. It was a spread out round table, right? But in spite of how intense it was, what I distinctly remember was, as much as each one of us was willing to go hard with them rhymes and other things to make that statement, there was still complete love in that room. And you can look at it and tell like there was love for each other and respect for each, you know. That's what you didn't see anything jump off in there that was like unbecoming of, you know, artists that are kind of like in their freshman role trying to get it popping. Like we show love to each other in that, and there was no security there. We didn't need any extra. There was no hype man there. There was no squads. Nobody had a whole squad standing outside the door. Like, so that much I remember. I remember that there was love in that room, and the love, I think, was probably resonant because of the lyrical miracle ability, right?
We
all had that ability in there, so everybody respected one another's pen game, and we all knew consciously and subconsciously that we were kind of like all up against the same machine. We weren't up against each other. We were up against the same machine because we were trying to get something from the machine in order to go feed our little huskies and our munchkins, and, you know, and branch out. And so that's what I remember from that. Everything else is kind of like a blur.
Wow.
Because I don't think anybody could have
foreseen how special of a moment that would have been in the future. Like it's lived on. It's on YouTube. Like no one knew YouTube was gonna. You didn't know how that moment was gonna be. Perceived 20 years down the line.
Right, and you're right, 100%. And also, I feel like no one in the room was kind of thinking, you know what? Let's come back and do this 20 years later. Or let's do this. Let's make it this 10-year anniversary. Every 10 years, we come back to a round table. You know, Torre just took the percentage, the royalty, and just ran off. You know, Torre didn't even, you know, Torre, I'm waiting on my call, man. Like, let's do Roundtable Part 2.
Did he monetize that?
Man, look, man, Torre, you see him on CNN, man.
I see him on CNN.
Yeah, man. You know, that came from somewhere.
Right.
You know,
No,
I'm just messing with you, Torre. It's all love, man. I'm just saying to you that in general, though, no one turned it into, like, what I'm trying to say is, in rap, you know, everything else, man, they franchise everything. But rap, you know, we do it late. And if we do it, we don't allocate the funds properly. It's crazy, man. We're the trendsetters. But that's not what sets us back. What sets us back is how we allocate and how we, you know, adjudicate.
Yeah, I think that, like we said earlier, right? I think that finally there's a generation of, I think the newest generation of artists is finally starting to become hip to that.
Right.
You know, the fourth wall's kind of broken down. You know, there's a direct to consumer connection with fans now that never existed, right?
That's true.
So where, imagine if in 1998 you had your opportunity to talk to your fans directly,
right?
Address them directly, or say, hey, swipe up on my story and buy, you know, the new fucking Canibus hoodie or whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like it's just, I think now that the fourth wall's kind of starting to be broken down, like there are a lot of artists who are taking advantage of the things that they try to, I guess, maybe keep from the artists, you know, because
but okay, so I understand exactly what you're saying, and you know, I got a caveat to that. So yeah, right. Get your record uploaded to this site, and they're gonna, you know, go ahead and put this out depending on what package you buy and so forth and so on, right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, then you got guys like 80 who, you know, can make sure that your records get uploaded to these sites or whatever, but they are still hand to hand. You know, I visited them. I went to the warehouses today.
No, I know. I've seen that many posting. Like, there's real physical copies.
But that's how it has to be done. It can't just be you upload it to a site. You got to have a middleman a Jedi that's gonna go out there and get these things for you. If you just upload it to a site, I'm here to tell you, because I get the quarterly. I get the quarterly.
It's a much higher or more steep mountain to climb to get your money off of streaming alone.
I'm gonna give you the facts. I get the envelopes, the quarterly envelopes of the royalties, and you know, 0.00018 is what you get on a play, right?
Of a penny.
It's an eighth of a penny.
Yeah.
So now, terrible. You know, so you get 10 million plays, right? What is that, like $6,000?
That's 38,000. That's 38,000.
It's 38 bands, right?
Yeah.
That was fast. Hey, y'all, this man's a savant. That was freaking fast.
I mean, 1 million on Spotify is about
I like that.
No,
man.
$1 million
that
on
was fast.
$1 million on Spotify is about $3,800.
All right, so I'm here to tell you, man. Like $1 million on Spotify, that means that you are obscenely popular right now, right?
Moderately popular, yeah. But $3,800.
Hold on. What does $3,800 do for someone who is that popular? Listen,
Nothing.
bro. All you could do is get into trouble with that.
Well,
all you could do is go to the mall, right? Blow it on next week's outfit, right? And be broke, or go
pay
somewhere,
or pay your rent for the month.
That's all you can
for
do
for 1 month.
That's all you can do. So now, all that, packages and the Gulf Streams flying here and everything, you're putting yourself in harm's way just to catch up to what you've already done. You've already sold 1 million plays. So this is what I'm talking to you about. Let's call it what it is here, man. This is already set up. You're already set up for failure. So, as opposed to focusing on the beefs and all these things that can be worked out, the disagreements, musical styles, who's living on this side of the world and who's living here and there. Like, as opposed to focusing on all that, there's got to be some kind of a regulatory body. And I'm talking about even off paper, like nothing that you got to sign, but just some kind of a lodge, something that's put together. The brothers can come together. I'm talking about from all walks of life, and try to have strategies that protect us. Right? I'm not trying to do that just for anybody listening that's thinking like, okay, I'm not trying to do it. I don't want to be the one to do it. I wouldn't even take a job in it if somebody came to me with something like that. But someone out there that's listening that has the wherewithal and the mental faculty to handle the pressure of that should take that on. I'm gonna nominate you because that mathematic maneuver that you just did right now was so fast. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was so fast, man. I'm so impressed with that, bro. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's 10 times 3,800. Yeah. But what year did you enlist in the? You went to the Army, right?
Yeah, 01. Yeah,
01. So that was that right after BC?
So 2000 BC came out in 2000. Yeah. Yeah.
So, kind of give us like how was your experience, man? Like let's see, 01, and this is September 11th happens. Yeah. It's a hell of a time to be in the Army.
It's right after September 11th. So pretty much that experience. I mean, what can I say, man? Like at that time I made a record. It was the See True Hollywood Stories. That was the album. Mm-hmm. The album was, it was satire. I've heard people say, it's satire. It's true. It was. It was just done to kind of like allegorically, like make an album that was just get under the skin, you know what I mean, of folks that was saying that, yo, man, I need the records to be harder. I want you to spit harder, the beats, the lyrics, I want more. And then I gave them less, right? By making a record like that. And the record was strictly just something it wasn't serious, but it was like something that it was still palatable. It was something that was tangible. You could have went out, got the artwork, you look at it, you open the fold out. Right. Who's this guy wearing that shirt? And why is he writing that? And then, we paid 25 bands for the Source ad, to run that ad.
So crazy.
The Source, and you know what? Fools. The Source was scared to run the ad because of the relationships that they were saying could have been ruined, right? Mm-hmm. And they did it for the money.
Of course they did.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, and then after that, they turn around and blackball me further. You know what I mean? So, and took money, you know what I mean, to like blackball me, right? Wow. So, you're talking about that record was made like at the way I felt at that juncture was like, you know what, rap ain't it. And I'm still young enough to go out and make a difference
and do something else.
That's right, and pretty much like be a kaiju in a way, for, try to do something good, right? But then, of course, you make records, and you do a record like do a record like Draft Me, and you say a lot of crazy stuff on a record, and then you grow, you get older, you see things, other people see things, you become privy to certain things, and you're like, man, wow, it's like everywhere you turn, you're trying to make a difference, trying to make a change, and you kind of find yourself like adding on to some of the things that have made the world more disconnected, right? Because before and after pictures tell you a lot about, how good something was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before and after pictures, right?
Yep.
So that's all really you got to do, man. That's my answer to anything.
How many years were you in the service?
I mean, got in 04, supposed to be 2, right? But got in 04, got in 01, and got out in 04. So.
And then you went overseas?
No, that's not. No.
You didn't end up going overseas?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's just an interesting experience, because it's like, I remember seeing that in whatever magazine, like, oh shit, Canibus is in the.
I mean, I did write doctrine for the Strikers, bro, like first brigade to have them. I always was like a getaway driver kind of guy. And even though I was a scout, 19 Delta, I was on the 3 truck, man, Striker Brigade, wrote doctrine, helped write doctrine for those vehicles.
Wow.
And, they perform. And they definitely used me to test the performance. So
that's big. Yeah, no. Do you think that at that point in time, mentally, you were just, this rap shit is enough? Because I feel like the industry wasn't good to you. You know what I'm saying? After that first album,
I appreciate you even like, you know what I mean? Just saying that, man. I appreciate you even just saying that, man. Like, I'm not looking. Listen, man. I'm not a bleeding heart myself, so I don't really. Listen, man, people have been dealt worse hands, right?
True.
But the thing is, just when you just look at the potential of certain things, right? Some people, it's gonna sting them harder because of what they were, what they were innocently trying to increase or help or assist. It's gonna sting those folks harder because it's like you come into something bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Nobody's innocent when they're 100 years old, right? But when you're 20, you're innocent of a lot of the things that you wouldn't be at 40 or 50, right?
Right.
So at that age, man, come on, man, I was innocent, like in terms of like what I was trying to bring to the game with music, And yeah, I mean, I can't say it though. I can't say that the industry wasn't good to me. When you say it, I just say amen. And I applaud.
I just remember specifically, obviously, at a certain point in time, it felt like you were like the industry's next guy. Everyone was behind you. I mean, I remember seeing you. You had your own source cover. You were very much, I remember like the Nas main source moment. You know what I mean? Like we always think. It almost felt like that was like the closest thing where it was like, yo, live at the barbecue, just Kid Nas on there, and then you were kind of like. The 96, 97 version of that, right? And the first album comes out. It's I thought there was some shit on there. Like N-word nometry and Get Retarded. I mean, there's some fucking amazing records on there, but for whatever reason, it felt like nowadays people get more than one go. I feel like people that album came and went, and like maybe the beef was like even though you won it,
right.
It might have been a bigger curse than it was kind of a gift and a curse.
Hey man, it's possible. Like I really will tell you that, what I was up against, I really didn't know at that time, right? And then by the time I figured it out, what I was up against, everyone had abandoned ship, right? I was pretty much by myself, right? And it was something that I realized what it was, or what I thought it was. Definitely a heavier pill to swallow than being something simple to mitigate, something to figure out and get out of.
Right.
But I was in the middle of it, so I couldn't quit, and I couldn't lay down, and I couldn't just sit there and wait for that grindstone that grinds everything to dust. You know what I mean? So I had to keep it pushing, and that's what I did. And that I give all praise to the Creator for me still being here now, because there were dark times there.
I'm sure.
Things that went through. And right now though, even though, we talk about the industry, this, that, but you know what though? Like the release of this Kaiju record, there were records, man. Like you got Melatonin Magic, you got like For Whom to Be Told, you have Lyrical Law, you had Rip the Jacker. Like there were records that My Club, the Curriculum. There were a lot of records that came out. Time flies. There were records that came out after that I'd say the brotherhood, like the fan base, the listeners, the rippers, like people that they don't care what the game talking about, what the industry talking about. They want to hear what Canibus got to say.
Yeah.
They came through in the clutch, right? And they stepped up to the plate in such a way where, I mean, if that's all that there is, or that's all that you can walk away from with it, I got to tell you that I'm more than blessed to have that, or to have secured it through that same innocence. I'm older now. I'm not perfect, right? But some of that innocence is still there. And this brotherhood that I'm talking about, they have reflected that innocence, and I see it. And when they come to support, they know that it was a lot. They don't know exactly what I was bearing on my shoulders, but they know that it was a lot. And now they kind of like, they step to the plate. I mean, these people, they're older now. Like all the rippers that were following me back in the 90s, they all got kids now, man. Mostly all of them. They're all grown. They all got, you know what I mean? They all made it through this.
I'm one of them. You know,
I feel you.
When I was 11 years old when your album came out.
You know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm saying? And you know, this pandemic for the last 2 years, man, like they're still out here getting it popping, right? Like subsisting, you know, like striving.
Right.
And then for them to set aside, like, you know what, I'm gonna get that new Biz album, whatever, and then to be able to make it number 2 across all the platforms. It's independent, man. We just went to the warehouse, we picked.
And people are buying the physical copies. They're signing the physical copies.
So I wanna take a snapshot of that and highlight that, because that is the moment where I can like look on what happened, you know, with more of like a, whew, you know what I mean? If it wasn't real and it was all fake, then that means the rippers now that I got wouldn't have existed, but they're here.
No, they're here because. Yeah, obviously,
they're my angels, man.
Yeah, I do think like, you know, I think back to like,
I'm grateful for that is what I'm saying.
And if you really think about like, I do think like the big misconception is like your first album wasn't fire.
Right.
I always thought it was great.
Right.
And obviously, like you said, you look at how many years later,
right,
there's still people who are putting money in your pocket for a new album. So it obviously cut through to a certain extent, but like I mean, maybe it just wasn't the industry success that people had hoped it to be.
Nah, it did 150,000 units first week,
fucking
man.
Big.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Most
a lot
people
of bread. That keeps the lights on.
Most people would chop their arm off.
Yeah, that keeps
to
the
do
lights
that.
on.
In
That's
the
just the first week. You know what I'm saying?
In their first week.
Yeah, it was number
That's
2
huge.
on Billboard. Like it was behind Lauren, and you know, it was right behind number 2 behind Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill was number 1, right, on SoundScan that week. So who can beat Lauren? Nobody, right? 100%. So yeah, you know what I mean. So, and I remember being told like, yo, it's a failure, you know, by somebody at the label, right? And then I remember that person's equal on the other wing of the building came and said, what are you talking about? Like,
number 2 is
this
big.
is your first release. You'll
100%.
never be able to get another first release again. You'll have other releases, but you'll never be able, no matter what you do, you'll never be able to have a first release again. Enjoy it for what it is, right? You're a champion, you know, enjoy it. Don't be sad, right? Because I was torn when the other one came to me and said, oh, it's a failure. Such, you know what I mean? So, but this, and I was young, man. Like you gotta understand, like psychological, you know, games and abuse on that level. You know what I mean? In a game that was already like, you know, everything's big, right? Like, you know, these owners and all that, they had everything you could ever think of, right? And we had, I mean, walking in, you have nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just want something. You don't even want what they got. Like when I say innocent, I mean innocent. Like, you know, a lot of the guys I remember from my era, we weren't looking to have everything that they had.
Right,
we were just looking to have something, right? And to see that kind of that agreement was made that, okay, if you do this, this, and this, you'll have this and this and this. Or you just have this and this. Or you just have this.
Right.
And if you open the door and see what's behind door number 1 and knew, you'd have been like, look, man, let me just break out right now, go to vocational school. Let me just get this out the way right now.
Right,
you know?
right.
So yeah, I wanna highlight that, man. Like, you know, you gotta definitely, you gotta grow with your fan base, and you know what I mean? And sometimes they're growing with you, but when the tables turn, you gotta grow with them.
That's real
shit.
What I
mean? Yeah.
Give me the backstory on how Mike Tyson ended up on Second Round Knockout.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to talk about Second Round Knockout again, then we can easily focus on.
I don't want to talk about the beef. I just want to talk about specifically
Second Round Knockout.
How did Mike Tyson end up on the record?
Second Round Knockout.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, this is Mike.
Just say
Mike
Second
Tyson.
Round Knockout one more time. Just say it.
I just want Second Round Knockout.
Yeah, right.
Mike Tyson.
There you go.
I want to know how did Mike Tyson end up on that
people,
shit?
Yeah, this is what y'all want, right? So we're gonna talk about it.
I don't even want to talk about the beef. I just want to know Mike Tyson getting on that record.
Right.
How did that happen? What's the backstory there?
I'm gonna tell you. First, I want you to tell me, when's the last person you heard somebody ask Mike Tyson about cannabis?
I don't know. I would though.
No, but nobody has. I'm gonna tell you why. She punch you in your fucking neck. You understand what I say?
I would ask him though. No, I would ask him.
Yeah, sure.
I would.
Sure.
No. I just don't think people are talking to Mike Tyson. You know.
Yeah, they don't want to do that, right? But the whole thing is this. At the time, they were friends of mine, you know, shout out to like, you know, I don't even want to say his name because I say his name, it's like I'm throwing his name in something that has so much drama behind it. But there was a friend of mine I was working closely with, both business-wise and just like, you know, we put projects out together, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was able to get in contact with, you know, another close friend of Mike's, female, you know, and then she had a son, and that son, you know, I don't want to say people's names and throw it out there because these people don't want to hear about this shit. Right. You do. You see what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So I would say, you know, they wanted to work with me, so they took it to Mike, and when the son, you know, Mike's sister, her son, so his nephew heard the record and heard my name and knew it was me. He was like, "Oh man, you gotta listen to what else he's doing." And he would throw that up, and Mike was like, "Oh man, that shit hard, all right."
Yeah.
So it happened just like that. There was no animosity in it. It was a record that was made like more out of like, oh, okay, this hip hop's getting interesting now. You understand what I mean? And there was innocence to it, is what I'm saying. But just because it was like an airstrike of sorts, it felt and it was to the big empire, you know what I'm saying, that basically ran rap. It turned into something where it's like, man, you just woke up the great dinosaur, man, like the T-Rex, man, and it turned into something else. But Mike was with it just because it sounded dope. It was dope. You know what I'm saying?
Were you in the studio with him when he laid his part?
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
What was that like? Because I think of like the equivalent would be like if LeBron James jumped on someone's diss record in 2021. Because Mike Tyson in '98 is, I mean, arguably the most famous athlete. It's him and Jordan. You know what I mean?
I was witness to it.
So what was that? What was that like being in the studio with Mike Tyson?
Okay, so to add clarity to it and be fully transparent, he didn't come to the studio first and do the record. I was in the studio with him several times, but he didn't do the record in the studio. That was done on a DAT recorder. You know, at the time, that type of DAT recorder, that piece of equipment was like 2 bands, man, 2,500. And he did his part in the comfort of his own home. We were in Vegas, and his home next door was the Sultan of Brunei. You know, funny story about that. Mike took me over there. You know, I got to see the Sultan of Brunei's home and all that.
Wow.
You know, horse track on the grounds, you know, pretty much went around the whole grounds. Laser beam security at the time, satellite laser security at the time, like just crazy, right? And Tyson did the drops like in the comfort of his own home. And we you know, he said no one told him what to say.
He just ad-libbed it.
That's what he said, yeah.
That's
and then
fire.
Took that and, you know, chopped it up. And, you know, when the part in the beginning, when the door is there and I go to the monastery, you know, if you look at it, man, it was, so I really like Sly Stallone. You understand what I mean? And I wrote the treatment for that song like out of like a Rocky kind of, the Rocky vibe, the vibe from all the Rockies where, or even like the Clint Eastwood vibes where, you know, somebody shows up to the town, they wipe your family out, they take everything from you, you know, they break your strong hand, you know, you got to come back and learn how to shoot with the other one. You know what I mean? You gotta make a complete comeback, and then you ride back into that town. Right. And that was what the Second Round Knockout record was. It wasn't a first assault. It wasn't you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a airstrike in the middle of the night. It was a response to something.
Of course.
That's what,
I think people forget that too.
yeah, it was a response. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, it was a response.
And but you know what though? We cleaned all that up. We cleaned it all up. And I couldn't have made the cleanup any bigger. If I could have, I would have. But I couldn't have made the cleanup any bigger. That's up to other, other hands, right? Other steady hands, right? So, here we are again, man. We're talking about something that was cleaned up, but the cleanup wasn't as big as the mess, right? So the mess is still there. That's why you're asking me about.
Well, no, I'm asking you about Mike Tyson.
It's the same shit, man.
No, I just think like to be able to have experiences with 1998 Mike Tyson, is so crazy. To me.
Mike in '98, Mike was firm-footed though.
Right.
He was firm-footed because I think that he. I mean, when I went to his home in Vegas, man, there was so many books on that bookcase, man, and he's read every one of them. And I think people now know this, right? But at the time, I don't think anyone could have imagined that he was that studious, right? But when you look back on it, it makes sense. It makes sense. He was real strategic. But, let's think about it, man. During that time in '98, he had already gone through some real madness, you know what I mean, in his life. And he turned all that around, you know what I mean? And now people don't even really talk about that madness no more. They let him live.
No, I love Mike. No,
but I'm saying they let him live.
Right.
But me, I'm still here. I can't live. Y'all still want to talk about the madness, and I just don't understand. Like, what the fuck is it, man?
I mean, it's just hip hop history, man.
Yeah, but it's hip hop history. But everybody has heard it already. They just haven't had me sit in front of them and say it to them. But they've heard it already. I'm confused, man. I'm so disappointed, man.
No, I mean, I think that, for me, it's just more the angle of like.
So let me ask you this.
Like I said, it's like if LeBron James was on a record, I would want to know how did LeBron, that's I'm not.
I agree with you, man.
I'm not even kicking the tires.
I'm not on you.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not on you. I just kind of like.
I get it, yo.
I want to figure it out. I didn't want to figure it out before you started talking about it to this, but I do want after you start talking about it like this. I'm really. It's like a Rubik's cube. It's a puzzle that I don't know how it can be solved. Where it's like, I mean, you know what I mean? Can a nigga just live? But let me ask you this though. You heard the album, the Kaiju?
I haven't listened to it yet.
You haven't listened to it, so I can't ask you.
I did check out one record. I think what was the first record that came out?
Oh man, that's all you heard. You ain't give a shit about Canibus, man.
No, that's not true.
You listened to the record?
I just got off of a 10-day vacation with my wife for our anniversary.
I hear that.
I just got back Sunday from Punta Cana.
I got records you could have played at Punta Cana and Tulum, and you probably would have wanted to go to Tulum afterwards. I was
sitting on the beach with the wife for our anniversary. I just got back Monday night.
True. I feel you.
So no, I mean, listen, it's not that I don't want to listen to it or I'm not going to. I just literally, haven't gotten around to it.
So it's records on there. There's records on Kaiju that
some dope features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got DMX, just his ad libs. For those out there who think I'm not trying to tell people to go grab it because X is on there, but that was my way of paying homage to him and my relationship with him and my connection to him. You know what I mean? Because I never had any way of making that possible without those ad libs, right?
Right.
And think you know what I'm saying, like A&R extraordinaire for that, right? Making those connections. But there are records on Kaiju that I would say are vastly more important than anything that happened in '98. But until you hear it, you won't know. But then for those out there who have heard it, they could probably agree. They could come on and point out to you maybe 5, 6, or 7 things inside of records that are vastly more important than happened in '98.
Do you feel like with Kaiju, because what I'm noticing is like with the Horseman release and Kaiju, like it feels like you're really taking advantage of the fact that, you do have a core fan base that will break bread with whatever Canibus does. And I think that sometimes people forget that, right? Like, like when you put it out, like you said earlier, right? Like you're not just going straight to streaming platforms. You're pressing up records. You're,
right.
you have, you're essentially giving something tangible to fans still when that's not a thing. And I think that, you know, shout out to the Griselda guys have done a good job of doing that in the last few years. But I feel like it was dope to see, you know, with the last couple of releases, that was kind of something on the forefront of like the business model of what the Kaiju record is. It's like, hey, look, man, I'm still here, and let's make sure that not only can you go stream it, but you can also hold it.
Well, to be absolutely honest, because it's all grassroots, there's really no promo money going in. There's nobody offering up any assistance with that. You know, it's just this team, small team too. You can count them on. You can count them on one hand, and if need be, you can count them on two hands. But that's it. And I got to tell you that we're not always absolutely sure that, you know, there's going to be any support for records. I mean, if you go on Google right now, you type in Canibus Kaiju, it's not going to just come up, bro. The site that was built to support the record will come up, but it's not coming up nowhere else. You understand what I'm trying to say? So let's not take the narrative and throw it somewhere else. Act like, oh yeah, Canibus got a solid fan base and all that. Like, no, I got folks that, you know, by the grace of the Creator, right, are able to, you know, stand on their own in their own lives, and they just happen to, you know, little birdie says, hey man, Biss just dropped the album, and then they say to themselves, you know what, I'm kind of going through right now, let me see what Biss going through, because I always listen to Biss when I want to go work out, when I want to get motivated, when I want to get inspired to like go out here and deal with life and try to, you know what I mean, try to win, try to get a victory out of, you know, something that's really, really, you know, hampering me right now. That's where I think it comes from. It's just people saying, let me give this a shot to listen to it. So the pressure's still on me to make a record that's going to give them that extra, yo, let me do 2 more sets. You know what I mean? Let me do, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. We're never going into it thinking that we're going to certainly get this amount or do this amount, because at the end of the day, if you see the numbers or whatever, they're still small, bro. It's nothing compared to, you know, like, you know, a shout out from a mega mogul that, you know, that's out here, that's doing
but I mean,
everything.
listen, I mean, I would say this though, but like
that, bro.
What you can do is what a lot of people who might listen. We talked about 1 million streams, right?
Right.
It's $3,800.
Yeah, I haven't done 1 million streams.
No, but what you can do is something that a lot of these kids can't do, and that's sell this, and you know, sell the pre-order with the autograph.
But let's put it in perspective. But let's put it in perspective. Like, they can sell this and they can do 1 million streams and so forth and so on, but they don't have somebody asking them about second round knockout and trying to constantly box them in. See what I'm saying? Like, I would trade a clean slate for what you're praising me for right now. I trade it for a clean slate. That's how crazy all that shit was. But nobody understands that. You see what I'm saying? Everybody comes and acts like, oh, you got so much, you can do so much, but I'm shackled to that shit. Right?
Do you feel like that you're you do you feel like that's like, obviously, look, at the end of the day, if you know, if you've made hip hop history, you've been a part of hip hop history, right? And you're also someone who's kind of not accessible, not very, you know, like I said, you kind of get in and get out of the game.
Approachable, not really accessible, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, I think you have to kind of expect, we're sitting here for 2 hours.
Right.
I'm gonna bring it up. It's a highlight of, you know.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's if you don't really know the whole catalog, bro. Like, if you knew the whole catalog, like, so I got like 3,500 or something songs registered, right? Registered.
Which is
Nielsen.
insane.
I'm like, sounds, you know how much that is because you did the math that fast. Right. So so let's take
you
the
might
one
have
song.
more registered songs than any rapper ever, to be honest.
Right?
That's
Maybe.
insane.
Yeah, it is. I could show you the proof, but and I probably will, like, right after we get off. But now, so in my mind, right, and in the mind of the people who know me best, that one song that everybody keep talking about, if we just subtract that one song from the catalog,
there's still 30.
You get where I'm coming from? You understand where I'm coming from?
I get it.
So that's exactly where we stand.
I understand how that could be frustrating.
It's not frustrating to me. I'm almost looking at the rap community like they're slow. And this is why we're in the shit that we're in.
Right.
And that's why I've stopped trying to augment the direction that's going to get us, because they're not just doing it with me. They're doing it with all the artists out here. They're taking narratives that will shackle people to things that muck up the gears and make it so that they can't, make an impact of value. They turn it into something that the only value that can come from it is like, the ops, right? What they're selling and how they're changing the narrative, and how, maybe something unfortunate can happen to the, to the light, you know what I mean? Or just the balancer or the equalizer. They want something to happen to the equalizer, man.
Well, listen, the way I look at it is this, right? I think that situation is historical in the same way that I think that round table that you, DMX, Pun, and Mike Geronimo was historical. So as a hip hop fan, as someone who participated as a consumer in that era, like, personally, that's something I want to, I want to ask you about that day where you were sitting at that table. In the same way I want to, ask you about, I specifically remember participating as a fan in that situation. So,
it's beautiful, man. And yet again, I can stand here on this side of the fence and say, okay, so let's look at the round table. Like, what happened to everybody on the panel? Like, including me, man. Like, or any of the, potentially, everybody that was on that panel, potentially, did any of us even get to like half our real potential?
I think really it was just X, right?
You're saying X got to half of his potential?
No, I think he got fully to. At the end of the day, DMX had what, 5 or 6 #1 albums in a row.
Oh, so you're talking about materialism then now?
5 in a row.
So you're talking about materialism?
No, I just mean in terms of commercial success.
So right? That's his potential, was commercial success.
No, I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, because
I said potentially they reached half their potential. Like, what do you think that anybody on that panel reached half of their potential? That's what you think too?
DMX.
I don't think he reached half his potential. Like you're talking about records and sales and money, right? But even when he passed, there were issues like surrounding like what money is going where and what's going on. I
agree
with that.
On the personal side of the fence.
I don't agree because of that.
It just depends on what scope are we looking at it through. When you ask that question,
it's one scope. It's only one scope. Everybody's sitting at that table, right? Okay. Did they reach half their potential? Because I feel like if any of us at that table had reached half potential, it would be like obscenely visible now, and not just financially. You get where I'm trying to come from?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm gonna always push back with that kind of conversation. People come with that shit. I just look at it like, damn, man, hip hop is slow. Look, man, I'm gonna push back like I always would, saying that, it's like we're hunted, bro. It's like we're hunted, man. You know what I'm saying? And somebody somewhere is not satisfied until everybody on the panel, it's like some kind of a fucked up horror film, man. You know what I'm saying? Or novel. That's the way I look at it. And that's the way a lot of people that listen to my music look at things, man. Because you know what? Unfortunately, it looks like that's the way it is. Everybody else is slow to catch up, man. Everybody else think that it is just about this material stuff. Or, you did reach all this potential because your name is everywhere. But you know what? Are you miserable? Is your family miserable? You know what I mean? Is certain things going through certain hardships where you got to look at it and be like, damn, considering all of the people that would look up to X and say, you got me out of some real rough times, brother. And I love you for it. And I always support you for it. Sometimes people tell me that. Definitely not as much times as X has heard that, right? And so,
yeah, I mean, look, I think
I just get sad, bro. I get sad when people try to act like what they've done, like what the game is, giving back to us is satisfactory, man. I push back, bro. I disagree.
I mean, listen, I told you I think in general the industry has was rough towards you.
Okay, well, you're telling me the shit stinks. I'm telling you though that what happened, the reason behind what happened. I'm pointing in a direction at it. I isolate what it is because I can't breathe air that far up in the clouds.
Right.
But, you know, because it's rarefied up there. But trust me when I tell you, man, like the fans really do, you know, if it wasn't for them, like, you know, some of the things that you see, like you look at that panel, dudes wouldn't even been able to get what they got like now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part I push back on if somebody's coming to try to say, oh yeah, well you guys, because you're not the only one, boss. It's not your fault. You're not at fault here. You just, and then here I am like just giving you like, yeah, look at the panel. You talk about the panel, like look. So how you think I feel like being that I was on the panel? I feel like a small part of me is feeling like I'm carrying a flag for that, right? And then another part of me is like, yo, stay away from that shit. You understand what I'm trying to say? But you want to know because you think the fans want to know, so you drag me into that. You get where I'm coming from?
Well, I think the fans would want to know about that day.
Fans don't give a shit about that, man. That shit has been on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's not about that video. It's about like, yo, tell me about that night. You know what I'm saying? Like I think people
but
genuinely
I don't even remember that fucking night. Like if you want to keep it all the way a buck, that shit is so much shit that's happened in my life. Like that shit is like it's just another night.
I totally get it, but at the same time, like.
Yeah. I wasn't even, like I said, what did I say when you brought that up? I brought up
You said,
Torre.
I remember there was love.
No, yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
But I also said that Torre, you know, he did the sign-offs and there was no percentage kickbacks. If I'd have got a percentage kickback on that, I probably remember it a whole lot better.
That's real.
You see what I'm trying to say? So let's be, you know what I mean? Let's be pragmatic about what we're talking about here, man, because I don't even like doing interviews because the narrative, they always grab the narrative, and it's always somebody that's slower than me. You know what I'm saying? That grabs the narrative and takes it and goes somewhere else with it. And then I end up in the middle and I end up being the bad guy when all I'm trying to do is just like the Kaiju record. I'm trying to keep something afloat here. Or I'm trying to assist or help. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. It's always been like that. And it just seemed like rap. You know what it seems like to me, man?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, I'm going to shut up about it.
Yeah.
It seems like rap is the death of us. Rap is the death of us, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the artists that come out and they make their music and they're impactful and they're, you know, there's some good in them and they're out there and they're making a difference for the better. Rap is the death of them. Not something else, but rap.
I mean, also literally and figuratively as well. Because, I mean, we've seen
That's what
happen.
I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit.
And that's a goddamn shame. That's all I'm saying, man.
Well, listen, man, the new album.
But let's not be sad about anything, right?
Well, you got a new album out. The Horseman album is out.
Yeah.
You got a lot of, you know, listen, you've had a great 2021 as far as output. Right. What is, you know, are you going to take a break? Or is this like with this new energy of this new record? Or do you kind of have the bug that you know? You
say new energy. Yeah, I feel you. I really feel what you're trying to do, man. No, I feel
what I'm saying is like,
I feel you.
Like you've had a crazy year of output. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. Look, I feel what you're trying to say. I really feel.
What I'm asking is like when, like, are you gonna?
It's not
keep
as
working,
big as
or are you gonna keep staying in the studio?
It all depends, man.
Right.
You know, the creator makes that decision, not me. Like the big G God makes that decision, not me. And we've seen that, right? With so many other things, so many other people and people that we love, artists we love, right? I don't make that decision anyway. But the 2021, there were some bright moments in it, right? Mm-hmm. But on Kaiju, so I did a record called COVID Santa, right? When you listen to the record, you'll hear COVID Santa. COVID Santa is a real snapshot to me of what things are really like. That's the snapshot of what things are. That's 2021 to me. So,
listen to that record if you want to
listen to that record.
See, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
COVID Santa sounds, that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
yeah.
But that to me is a snapshot of where things are at, right? So, you know, all I can say now is like, hey, we still in the trenches, right? You know, we take it day by day. You know, everybody out here pounding pavement to do the best that we can. And then sometimes, you know, we know that something ain't working or whatever, and we keep it pushing and we leave it alone. You know what I mean? This is not some kind of resurgence of cannabis or nothing like that, man. I'm still the same dude,
You're just going to do what makes sense. If it makes sense, you're going to do it. If you're feeling it, you're going to do it. And if not, it's all good because you're still the same guy either way.
Word, that's what it
cannabis
is, man.
Hey, so what's the website that everyone can go and, like, if they want to actually physically buy the music?
I appreciate that. Yo, so if you want to just be involved, you know, hang out with people who like cannabis music, they bump that. You know, I got Born Son with me. I got the team, my rippers. Pretty much like everybody you can imagine. It's like messing with real hip hop. I got Body Bag Pen on this album. We're forging new relationships. You know, 80s reaching out to new people, forging new relationships, right? And then some of the old relationships, if they're reparable, we'll repair them, right? If they're beyond reproach, we leave them alone. But you know, CaniNFT.com. That's CANINFT.com. You can go there to like directly support, get involved, and get involved with what I'm up to next, right?
There it is.
You got iPictorial.com. That's like the future. Right?
That's what you were talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's the future. Mm-hmm. And so for anybody that wants to like put the goggles on, right? That's like you was talking about Kid Cudi. Like, what would you say Kid Cudi had a...
Kid Cudi.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, I don't want them to roast you in the comment.
Yeah, pardon that. Yeah, so Kid Cudi, right? So he had like something where they perform with the goggles
the metaverse
on, right?
shit.
Right. Now, when we know that's a huge artist, right? Brings a whole lot of fanfare and everything.
Of course.
But look, you could put the goggles on and go see him, right? Well, you could put the goggles on and see me too, but you got to go to iPictorial.com.
There it is, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man.
Word.
Real shit, brother.
All right, peace. Boom.